Card payments in Asia Pacific are expected to reach $24.7 trillion this year. Mature markets like China and Australia are leading, while emerging economies follow with rising digital access. Joining us to unpack this are Shan Fu from Global Payments and Assistant Professor Ruan Tuan Yue from NUS Business School. Now, starting with Sean, with card payments expected to reach $24.7 trillion, where is the most intense competition coming from? Is it traditional banks, fintechs, or platform companies?
This is a good question. I would say different players probably have a different advantage and disadvantage. Take traditional bank as an example. Their advantage is they usually have a good reputation and usually together with issuing, the car issuing, so that they can subsidize the cost from acceptance from acquiring. So usually they have even some banks, they can do some loss making in order to secure some big merchants, big customers. But their disadvantage is also very obvious. For example, they had outdated infrastructure and technology, and which would cost them slow processing time and higher cost. So this is for traditional banks. For the high-tech company, they usually have a more user interface and easy to expand by leverage the new technology. But they are always the frequent target for those cyber threats. So I would say the fintech, in addition to this security, they also face the regulator compliance requirements and also the lack of reputation and trust compared to banks. So this is fintech. For platform, usually these platform players, they have high stickiness from their app, from their platform, but they also have the security issue like a fintech, also the regulator requirements. But the difference to the fintech is they also have a higher cost to manage because they use a heavy technology in order to create a stickiness. Among these three, traditional banks, fintech, platform, I think the fintech players probably is more competitive in the market because they are easy to expand and usually they leverage the technology all over the world. So the competition probably not just happen in local, but also happen in globally.
I think the three types of players you mentioned, they are all competing fiercely, but in slightly different segments. So banks are competing fiercely on card issuance as well as acquiring merchants. Fintechs, they are leading different innovations such as buy now, pay later or digital payments where consumers can link their cards. And platform companies, the other players, they are integrating card payments into their own digital ecosystems as well as super apps. So I would think that these different players, they are all competing fiercely in different segments and competing among each other.
Now, when it comes to scaling card payments, which emerging Asia-Pacific markets are showing the most promise?
Philippines, of course, their population has over 100 million people. And also there, as I mentioned, the spending behavior, 99% is SMB, small and medium business. So to address this kind of market, you probably need to have a solution to fit in that market. For example, the APM, the alternative payments method, the PHQI is actually promoted by the government. So it's quite popular in Philippines right now. The other example is for Malaysia. Malaysia is actually, compared to Philippines, probably a higher regulated environment but their population probably is not as many as Philippines. They probably only have 34 million people there. But their focus is on the tourist. So in Malaysia, we actually work with a lot of hospitality segment, hotels, solutions. This is to target the tourist segment for Malaysia. So I think this is to address your question. I would say Philippines, Malaysia probably is our focus right now, in addition to China and Oceania.
The mature markets like China, Australia, the card penetration, card usage is already very high. So it's kind of leading leading in this region where you can see that emerging economies, they were following, very fast growth in terms of these digital payments.
Such growth is very evident when it comes to urban areas, but how can governments and banks better support payment ecosystem growth in rural areas this time? Do you have any advice?
I think first of all is education, because the people need to have the financial knowledge first. And once you have the education, have the knowledge, then you could have some infrastructure to build. So once you have education, you have infrastructure, then we will come to the solution. From global payment perspective, I think mobile banking is crucial for providing access to financial services in these underserved areas. And in addition to mobile bank, the other things I'm thinking is the customized solution, because thinking of that, if you only have infrastructure, you have education, you have infrastructure, but you also need to have some customized solution to fit in that area to address their specific financial challenges. From a payment perspective, I think alternative payment or SoftPOS probably would be the first thing I think of to serve these underserved areas, because you won't have the luxury to have a lot of bank branch over there to provide a vending machine, to provide a ATM machine, to provide terminals. But APM, alternative payment, is so well. It's so well can reach to every place.
So I think that's a very good question. So, we do know that rural areas, the digital payments, the card payments are still lacking. So there are a couple of reasons. One reason is that the infrastructure, is not as well developed in rural areas compared to urban areas. And also the financial inclusion is also lacking in rural areas. But I think the government do have, important roles to play in these two aspects. So for instance, in terms of infrastructure, government can lead more investment in this infrastructure so that, cards are accepted in a wider range of merchants. As well as in financial inclusions, government can launch campaigns to promote the ownership and use of bank accounts and cards, and therefore encourage more people to develop trust towards card payment.
Thank you so much for your time today and for sharing your insights, Sean and Tianyue.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Once again, those were Sean Fu, Senior Vice President of Greater China at Global Payments, and Assistant Professor Ruan Tianyue from the Department of Finance at NUS Business School. For more news, visit asianbankingandfinance.net.